So, as misinformation about the coronavirus continues to spread globally, Twitter has implemented a new system to sort of highlight bogus or unverified claims. So, CNET senior producer Dan Patterson is joining us now to break it all down. What's Twitter doing to stop misinformation? I feel like, Dan, over the past few weeks, I've definitely seen a flare up of misinformation. And perhaps that's because the information that maybe wasn't normally in my Twitter stream or on my Facebook page that maybe would be somewhere else is now on my page, which means people that I know and like and think are really bright are spreading this stuff.
Yeah, so Anne Marie, you bring up a few really important points there. And let's start with the difference between misinformation and disinformation. So, misinformation is a rumor, it's gossip, it's hearsay. It is your neighbor saying, well, I heard that coronavirus spreads through some vector, and then you pass that information along like a game of telephone. Disinformation, however, is coordinated, and often we see various actors, threat actors, use social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, and of course Twitter to propagate disinformation. Those two things, misinformation and disinformation, can often become tangled with each other. So what Twitter is doing is very similar to what Facebook, YouTube, and others have done, and that is labeling what they call misinformation and misleading information. So they're using three different types of labels. Misleading information, these are statements or assertions that have been confirmed to be false or misleading, and then they have disputed claims. These are statements or assertions in which the accuracy or the truthfulness of the claim is maybe in question. And the final one is unverified claims. This is information that may be true, it may not be true, but we simply don't know right now. So they're using a combination of artificial intelligence and human moderators to kind of go through this mountain of data and apply various labels that supposedly should help you, me, and our neighbors figure out exactly what's happening on social media.
Dan, as you know, in the past, Twitter has shown some inconsistencies on who its policies apply to. Are political figures like President Trump, for example, exempt from these labels?
Vlad, that's an excellent question. So I asked one of my sources at Twitter that same question last night, and then I asked again this morning, and the response was the same, which is the same that Twitter published in a blog post. It seemed a little passive aggressive, and they've said, yes, we will apply these policies universally. So in the past, they've also said that they'll apply their policies universally. But of course, there seems to be a disparity between who and what gets tagged and targeted and what doesn't. In this case, when asked, will President Trump have the same policies applied to him, they answered with that same, well, yes, we will universally apply these policies. So, Vlad, we will keep asking our sources on the record and on background for the truth about this. But right now, Twitter is saying the same thing that they've always said, which is we'll apply these universally. So that means I have no idea.
Dan, I just want to ask you a question that has been kind of like a comeback that I've heard often, which is if these postings were untrue, if they weren't revealing unpleasant truths, then why do they keep taking it down? And I have tried to explain to people that the reason Twitter and YouTube and a number of these other platforms take this stuff down is because there were a number of hearings about this in which lawmakers who represent us asked these platforms to do a better job. Can you just sort of remind us why these companies are now being so proactive?
Well, in the past, like you said, Anne Marie, these companies had policies that were fairly laissez-faire. And we saw this up until about the 2016 election, and then the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which really only happened in 2018, kind of forced all of these major technology platforms to reckon with, are they platforms or are they publishers? And they are kind of both. But the responsibility of a publisher means that you have to be responsible to our laws. So some of the laws that come that regulate platforms mean that these internet providers can say, well, they're carriers of information, not publishers of information, and they're not liable for this. But as we've seen, like you said, Anne Marie, Congress has got involved, and so have our lawmakers, and they have threatened to break many of these companies up if they don't act responsibly when it comes to the information that they say they are also publishing. So there are different types of regulations that apply to both of those types of entities, and it seems like, although we don't have real clear precedent, it seems like these technology firms are kind of both publishers and platforms, carriers of information. And we have seen that harm can come from bad and misleading information, whether that harm is done to our democracy. When it comes to spreading lies and untruths, or gaslighting individuals, or when it comes to physical harm, like some of these ridiculous false claims that drinking bleach will help cure coronavirus.
It's an important point that you make, Dan, and it's something that, the three of us have talked about many times before. Look, I've seen it I've seen it even with innocuous postings. Anne-Marie and I have been engaging in this post your favorite 10 albums of your life, the covers of those albums. And I recently on Facebook posted Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy. I don't know if you're familiar with that album, but it got flagged for violating Facebook's policies.
Right. So we see all of these firms kind of struggle with what is disinformation, what is misleading information, and what is just opinion. And in this case, Vlad, you expressed a very popular opinion that that's an excellent Led Zeppelin record. However, it's very easy. So what's at play here? It's very easy for these automated systems. Many of these companies use what they call artificial intelligence. It's really machine learning. It's this ingestion of big data and then algorithms that spit out responses from big data. They use this as what we call a black box, meaning like, hey, information goes in, solutions come out. Don't worry about the mumbo jumbo magic of technology. AI will solve this problem. In this case, Vlad, it flagged Houses of the Holy as misinformation. So this is the critical failing of, or at least challenge of technology, is this split between human moderators and artificial intelligence. And we saw that, even just recently, Facebook has had to pay out human moderators because of the emotional damage that looking at harmful content all day can cause. At the same time, AI is clearly not a solution. So what the actual solution to disinformation, misinformation, and what they call fake news is really still very unclear when it comes to tech firms.
Indeed. The answer is over the hills and far away. Dan Patterson, as always, great to talk to you.